I rise to inform the House of a ceremony that I recently attended where I presented awards and certificates honouring the work of the dedicated volunteers at the Prince of Wales Hospital in my electorate of Coogee. It's important to acknowledge the efforts of our volunteers who make a tremendous difference in their local communities, but whose efforts aren't always known to the public. It was recently National Volunteer Week in Australia, a week in which we seek to raise the awareness of the efforts of the 6 million Australians who donate their time and skills across the country every year to a variety of causes. It was a great opportunity to say aloud thank you to those volunteers. When you consider that those 6 million people make up 36% of our adult population, it reminds us how very lucky we are in Australia to have such a passionate culture of charity and giving. The efforts of volunteers in my electorate, particularly at the Prince of Wales Hospital, are reflective of this great tradition. The Prince of Wales Volunteer Service has for decades been an integral part of the hospital's wider reputation of service and community involvement, complementing its reputation as one of New South Wales and indeed Australia's premier treatment facilities. Volunteers at Prince of Wales undertake a variety of functions, including visiting patients and working on wards such as the oncology, mental health, palliative care, vascular and respiratory wards. Volunteers also assist with the administrative functions such as medical records and working in the hospital cafe, library and gift shop. For patients who may not have families or whose families can't always visit, a visit from a hospital volunteer can make all the difference in the world. Many patients who are at Prince of Wales for an extended stay come to know the volunteers very well. Undoubtedly, the most valuable thing that the volunteer service can offer is support and company to those patients who may just need someone to talk to. There were 26 award recipients who I'd like to acknowledge in the House today. Firstly, 7 certificates of appreciation were awarded to Jim Blackburn, Sherry Brightfield, Shirley Cole, Robert Duran, Lelia Dupov, Robin Stevens and Jean Geordie. Service badges were awarded to people who had been with the volunteer service for extended periods of time. For 5 years' service, I congratulate Narelle Black, Jan Campbell, Alan Cobran, Robert Duncan, Richard Gaffney, Dale Haffer, June Halton, Jim Murasso, Carmel Shrembry, Merle Taylor and Christine Winter. For 10 years' service, I congratulate Maria Norton. For 15 years' service, I congratulate Jeanette Aldridge, Doreen Fisher and Shirley Kugler. For 20 years' service, I would congratulate Wayne Collins, Vasiliki Dimitropoulos and Evelyn Mayer. And for 25 years' service, I congratulate Veronica Langley. Last, but certainly not least, I'd like to pay tribute to Sylvia Baines for her massive 40 years of volunteer service at the hospital. Sylvia recently received special recognition at the ceremony for her administrative work in the hospital's offices and for organising the newspapers. She is also known as the one who gives the biggest hugs to all people who arrive at the hospital who she's met before. I'd like to thank Audrey McCallum, MC of the ceremony, and Ian Cox, Secretary of the Prince of Wales Hospital Volunteer Service, for organising the event. I'd also like to thank Dr Greg Stewart, Acting Chief Executive of the South Eastern Sydney Local Area Health District, and Dr John Roberts, Director of Operations at Prince of Wales, who also attended to help recognise the special role the volunteers fulfil in the hospital. The long service of these volunteers is a testament to their devotion and willingness to make life easier for patients as well as the hospital staff. Their work also complements the work of the hospital's nurses and doctors in an often gloomy environment. This environment is inevitable in any hospital, however, their contribution helps ease the underlying tensions. Whilst they ask for nothing in return, the reward undoubtedly comes in the knowledge that they are making a difference to people's lives and the functioning of the hospital. I was pleased that our Minister for Citizenship and Communities recently released a statement of principles for the recognition of volunteers' rights. This was a great step forward, further acknowledging the value and contribution of volunteers in New South Wales. The fact that the number of volunteers in Australia doubled between 1995 and 2010 says a lot about the growing spirit of charity in our country. We should always strive to recognise the work of volunteers, and I wholeheartedly congratulate and thank these volunteers for their work in my electorate and indeed for Australia.